millions of dollars have gone into the waterfront areas. And so what we're saying to Major League Baseball and the Oakland A's, come stay in Oakland. We support you. We want you to be successful. We have made significant contributions to the economic development and viability of Oakland. Come join us in that. Finally, my final is every city in America is in budget deficit, and so is Oakland. The great tragedy of financing local government is there's no rational way to do it. When you look at the state laws, we've been preempted in many places to have a viable and rational way of financing cities. Well, what this will also do is create necessary revenue, economic development, and employment for our people. That concludes my remarks. It's now my honor and my great pleasure to introduce my partner in this process, the President of the City Council, Jane Brunner.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not going to repeat most of what you said. My message is we're here to show Oakland and residents of Oakland and A's fans that we are fighting to keep the Oakland A's in Oakland. My son, who's 32 years old now, I raised him by going to Oakland A's games. It is the sport that young kids can get on the park and can get to, and they can afford. It is the sport that, as a mother, I totally enjoyed sitting next to my son, because maybe for boys, sometimes that's the way they talk to you when you're sitting at a game, that you really can participate as a family in a sport. And the A's have been in Oakland for years. They're identified with Oakland. Their name is Oakland. And we have all grown up with the Oakland A's. The A's have won World Series. They're a unique team. The fact that they get these young new players, they leave, but we get to see them with the Yankees and other teams. It's a very unique way of sort of following it. We wrote the letter to the commissioners. It's an honor. I feel like it's an honor to have been in those meetings, that the commissioner took us seriously enough. They developed a task force. The task force has been, the members of the task force have been fact-finding. They've been very professional in looking at different information. They're looking at three things: sites, and we'll get into that in the detail, but you have the waterfront sites where there's a lot of new restaurants, a lot of new housing. It is the economic development of the city along with downtown. They're looking at financing, how they can finance it, what the city's obligations, if they get to the point of negotiating with us, would be. And they're looking at the market. Who's going to buy the luxury boxes? And that's why our partners with private sector are critical in looking at corporations. They also employ, I'm not sure I have the right number, but over 1,000, if not 2,000 part-time employees. So they directly employ a lot of people at their stadium along with the employment around it. This is, and I'm going to end with, this is really economic development. If you go to San Francisco, where the Giant Stadium is, it has popped from all of us who've seen it. If you go to Denver, that was a dead area until the stadium was there. If you go to Baltimore, that was a dead area until the stadium was there. When you put a stadium that has millions of visitors, you get economic development. It's key that if a stadium is in a place that can develop economically too, so the restaurants, the nightlife, and everything else is around there. So it has been an honor. We are ready to get to the next stage. We're not there now. That after the task force makes a recommendation to the commission, if they want to get serious and they choose to get serious with us, we are ready to roll up our sleeves and start negotiating on the real issues and bring it to City Council for looking at the actual, what we're going to do. At this point, I want to look at my two colleagues and see if they want to comment. Ms. Vice Mayor Ignacio Dellums.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You said it all. I mean, I think between the two of you, all of us know that Oakland has been one of those cities that have gone out on the limb to make sure that we retain the 3 sport franchises that we have in the city of Oakland. A city of our size to have the Raiders, to have the Warriors, to have the A's is something that not too many cities of our size can say that. And you're absolutely correct, Madam President. I think that this is an issue of economic development and revitalization to create thousands of jobs. When people criticize the Raiders deal, for example, the reality is that we managed to retain thousands of jobs and retain three sport franchises in the city of Oakland. And the reality is that I believe that the mayor is correct and the president of the council. We look in the areas, the waterfront, you look at San Francisco, and what has happened with that stadium is absolutely incredible. It attracts and generates jobs. So that's our mission. And obviously the mayor expressed it very well. We believe that the A's belong in Oakland. They have been in Oakland. We believe that, I believe, and maybe I speak personally on this one, that they have no other place better than the city of Oakland. And we will be at the table, and hopefully, collectively, all of us will be able to achieve what I believe should be the result. Not only to retain the A's, but to really create and generate economic development, jobs, and infusion of tax base. That's how this city will move forward. So the work just began, and this is the message that we want to send this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the President of our City Council. I want to just tell you how extremely proud I have been in those meetings with Major League Baseball and watched the leadership that the two of you have demonstrated as we attempted to communicate across the table about our interest in keeping the Oakland A's here in our city. And I think those of you who are in the audience and the residents as a whole would have been extremely proud of the leadership that the two of you demonstrated. The Oakland A's history is with this city that we are a part of, and that history should stay here in the city. We meet here today because we are sending the word out that we're willing to fight to keep our A's here in the city, and also create an enormous economic engine that will help continue the change that have been taking place in the city the past 10 years. But in closing, I just want to say how proud I am that we have business owners like Mike Gilmetti, like Jim Palacci, and like Doug Boxer, and the offices of both Congresswoman Barbara Lee and Senator Boxer in their efforts in helping us to communicate to Major League Baseball. As my two colleagues have said, if Major League Baseball is ready to negotiate, we're ready, because we think we have put on the table 3 incredible sites for them to consider, and we've provided them with the information to show them that we as a city have the capacity to make sure that the Oakland A's continue to stay in our city and be successful and be a part of this incredible economic engine that we think they can be in helping us to continue to move this city forward. So, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, thank you for your leadership. Thank you.